Good day, Simon. Welcome to you.
G'day, Hayes. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Talk us through how this come about.
Yeah, look, mate, it's been, I suppose, the product of an ongoing discussion that, myself, Joe Bridie, our EGM of footy, Chris Sutherland, our president, and JL been having. You often clearly look at what is the, I suppose, traditional way of doing things, which, as you well know, Hayes, from an AFL coaching perspective, is a fixed contract, a fixed term contract, and that was certainly in a consideration set for us, as was, leaving it for the time being. But the further we got to discuss what options we might have, we started to think about this ongoing employment arrangement that, it's really important that, our members and fans and the footy public understand also. It clearly does have notice periods built within it. So from that perspective, there's not a lot of change. However, we thought there was a real opportunity for us to lock this scenario down. We think it achieves a really good balance of providing a level of surety for our football program, level of clarity for JL on where he stands. There's the appropriate levels of protection for the club. So it achieves a really good balance and allows us to focus on making sure we perform as well as we can as we lead into the season in 2025.
We have seen it before with David Noble at North Melbourne and Brenton Bolton at Carlton. Both didn't work too well with those football clubs, but speaking to people inside the industry, do you think there'll be a time when we see more of these arrangements?
I don't know, Hayes. It's a hard one to predict. We obviously were understanding that this isn't brand new. There has been precedents within the AFL industry, and as you say, in those instances, it probably didn't work as well as those clubs and the coaches hoped it would. I don't know the specific details of that and aren't across the context and background behind them, but we just essentially look at what we think is going to be most effective for us. Every decision we make on a daily basis is based upon the premise of what do we think can maximise our chance of succeeding. So that was a driving motivator behind this decision and behind every decision we make for that matter. And when we went through that, we feel like for our club, for our coach, for our footy department at this time, this really works. Not suggesting it's revolutionary and going to change the whole system, Hayes. It might not be for other clubs, but when you think about it, particularly given the fact that most fixed term agreements that AFL coaches operate under now do have notice period clauses. Forgive me, mate. I think there's a fire drill that might be coming through in our system. Not ideal for live radio, Hayes, but hopefully that finishes sooner rather than later. I'll keep carrying on. From our perspective, we think it works for us, which is the crux of it. Will it change the system? I predict it won't. But given those environments have those notice periods within them, we think it's effective in that sense.
We'll keep on going.
You got me there, Hayes?
Yeah, still got you.
Sorry, mate. I'll put it on mute while you're asking the question.
You did mention before that you're giving the club every chance to succeed. Is part of that eliminating the external noise, the media noise, in case, it might be a rocky start, there's some tough games early. Is that part of the thought process of a football club, not just yours, but football clubs in general going forward, that they don't like to put too much pressure on the club, given that you believe you're right in the window?
Oh, look, Hayes, we understand. Hopefully this finishes sooner rather than later. I'm just having a look at our facilities manager in Adrian now. Hold on with me for one moment, Hayes. Apologies for this, mate. This wasn't what we were expecting.
No, that's okay.
Let me jump outside and see if this works any better. Not ideal. So I've just jumped outside, mate, so hopefully that's a little better and you can hear me.
Sounds terrific.
How's that work, Hayes?
Yeah, keep on going.
Great, mate. Yeah, look, we know we're in a performance-based industry. There's going to be pressure to perform not only on an annual basis, but on a weekly and daily basis. So that's part of the world that we live in. We think this will help us focus more internally. There's always going to be noise, and really that's going to be dictated upon how we perform. If we, as a club, are performing as we are hoping to and plan to, then clearly the noise won't be there. But if we're not, then we understand it's always going to exist. So that's an environment that we're more than comfortable with.
You've mentioned a couple of times that there seems to be some sort of protection mechanism in this if it doesn't go that well in the short term.
Yeah, look, we've arrived at what we think is an appropriate balance where there's a level of protection and security on both sides of the table, where Justin feels that he's at a level of comfort and importantly, the club does as well too. So that allows us to move forward in a responsible manner, while, as you say, allowing the club to then focus in on performing as well as it possibly can.
There's also some risk and some liberty taken from Justin Longmuir in this case, that if he was to come out and win the premiership this year, would there be a renegotiation of this contract where he might be given an extended period of time?
Oh, look, as you say, Hayes, that's clearly going to be in the instance that JL and the club are highly successful in coming years. So that's certainly an issue that we're hoping to confront. I mentioned today, and I think I touched upon it earlier on, that we think this is the right arrangement for our club, our coach, and our footy program right now. That's not to say that in future we might also look at things and suggest that there might be another option for us down the track. We think that right now this is effective, and hopefully we're dealing with the problem you've raised in the not too distant future.
We know Justin is a very honest person, and he's been representing himself with his own management in recent times. How is he at the negotiation table?
No, he's strong, Hayes, as you'd expect. He's straight up and down, and you always know where you stand, and what you see is what you get with JL. But I think it's also a bit of a testament to the alignment of the club. We speak regularly, not just clearly about Justin's contract situation, but all things pertaining to our footy program, the broader footy industry as a whole. Great level of rapport between not only just myself and JL, but his EGM of footy, Joe Bridie, who strikes that balance of supporting and challenging in an appropriate way. And you throw Chris Sutherland, our president, into that. That's a foursome that has regular discussions and looks to get clearly with the driving motivation of looking to get the best outcome possible for our club.
Looking forward to the game on Sunday down there at Mandurah. Are we looking at a full-strength team with all those players that are available, barring probably Nathan Fyfe?
Yeah, I think Alex Pearce, our skipper's touch and go for this week, but I think he confirmed yesterday that that'll have no impact on his availability for round one. That's a lock from his perspective. We're just figuring out whether we actually do run with him this weekend. Hayden Young's another one that I think we're just checking in on, and Stan Sikowski's probably the other, who had a head knock a couple of weeks ago, heading towards being available and ticking all the boxes in that sense. But those players aside, Hayes, Josh Draper's the only other one who came up with some awareness that we don't think is too serious from a hamstring perspective, but, it's turned into a pretty important player for us. So we'll watch that. But those players aside, this really is a full dress rehearsal for us. JL, I think, referred to it as round zero, ahead of our run clash with the Cats this coming weekend. The D's look like they're up and about. They look like they've got some of their star players motoring early part of the year. So we're really looking forward to the opportunity to play down at Peel's home ground down there in Mandurah. It's going to be a fantastic afternoon.
I do want to congratulate yourself, the coaching group, on the performance against the Indigenous All-Stars. Not so much on the field, but the eagerness for all the players to be involved, letting your players go and play for the opposition, because now State of Origin seems to be back in vogue. I've been calling for this for a long period of time. As a club and a CEO, are you in favour of seeing this potentially next year in February?
Oh, it feels like it's gathering momentum, Hayes. So, it's certainly something that I think we're going to have to confront. But, you saw from our involvement in representative footy as an entire club, really, it wasn't just some players that clearly went across from a Fremantle point of view to the All-Stars. Mate, you're well aware of the unbelievable heritage and history here we have of over-representation of Indigenous players at our footy club. So to be involved in that, it was really powerful. It's far more than a game. But having said that, mate, and you're as astute as observer as there is, I think we'll get some real benefit from it. I don't think it's going to be hard to come up against a side that provides more pressure than the All-Stars did, and that also hurts you on the turnover. Once we made an error and we saw we were a little bit scratchy, then it wasn't coming back. And when they finished to the full effect. So, I think it was beneficial from that regard. In terms of the broader question of representative footy, if we can find the right spot for it, and I think if it's done at the right regularity, then, I think it's something we as an industry will look to embrace.
Hey, Simon, did you have any issue yesterday with the AFL making rules on the run with the extension of the SSP deadline, allowing Melbourne and Carlton to access two players?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Hayes. Just, to be totally frank, obviously, I've been working through the announcement this morning and getting prepared for that. So I've only just seen it and trying to get my head around it. We understand that both clubs have been rocked by, really, untimely and impactful injury players that impacts the list size. But, yeah, it's an interesting one. I want to take it on notice because rules are in place, timing's done, and when you start opening that up, when do you stop? If something happens to a club this weekend, is the AFL going to allow that to occur? Next week as well too. So it's an interesting one. It's a good call out that you've made, and something that I want to continue to check in on.
I'm still waiting for my trade return from Damien Martin to the Fremantle Dockers. I haven't got anything back the other way. I'm doing the show by myself. How is the great man going, Damien Martin, down there in his new role?
Mate, he's going well, really well. But more importantly, I think you're doing beautifully, mate. You've cut the dead wood. You've got rid of Marto. You've offloaded into us, and you're firing on all cylinders by all reports, mate. But let's keep talking. There's always an opportunity. But in all seriousness, I mean, you know him incredibly well, mate. We're very lucky as an organisation to have someone with Marto's background and expertise and experience at high-level sport and succeeding at high-level sport to assist us. Provides a really different outlook. And you add into that, traits that he's got in terms of drive, determination, engaging personality, and a hard-nosed, sporting veteran as well too. So it's a significant combination for us, and we're already reaping the benefits for it, and I think that's going to continue for hopefully years to come. He's
an absolute ripper. But before I let you go, just finally your expectations for Fremantle this year.
Yeah, we want to start. We've talked about it a lot, Hayes, that we want to contend and succeed and have an extended period of contention. That's what this build's been all about, and it's something that we've preached for a long period of time. So for us, that starts in 2025, and you can extrapolate that any way you want. I'm not trying to dodge the question. We want to play finals and give ourselves an opportunity to succeed, and we want to do that over an extended period. The clubs that have shown that it's possible, that you can actually continue to contend on an ongoing basis and give yourselves the best chance to win one. And that's our plan, mate. So that starts in 2025, and we can't wait to get into it.
Thanks for your time, Simon. Do appreciate it.
Good on you, Hayes. Thanks, mate.
Simon Garlick there, the CEO of the Fremantle Dockers, after transitioning Justin Longmuir's contract to an employment agreement in 2026.